Good evening. This is Pastor Bob here at Sunrise Community Church. We have had a week. We've had a lot done here. The trees are down. They're cleaning up now, getting ready to haul the brush away. Some real progress has been made in the midst of it. You know how it is in life. You always have things that turn out to be opportunities that you thought were a problem when they happened. Last Monday, the wind caught one of the big trees, the biggest tree on the property, and it took out the power and shut the power through the church. And we had a few problems. We lost our piano. We lost a couple of things, and it's all being taken care of. But it has been an interesting week, to say the least, and God has been good in the middle of it. And this week, we're going to start a new series. We're going to start a series on Jonah. You know the book of Jonah. If you've been raised around the church, I know that you probably have heard about Jonah and the big fish ever since you were a child. Everybody knows it. It's told like a fable, like this story with characters and animals and this moral that's in the middle of it. But it's much more than just a fable. It has, these 4 little chapters have major themes. If you look at it, chapter 1 and 2 and then chapter 3 and 4, it almost parallels one another. It is amazing at the themes, and the themes are there's so many things. I mean, it's about call to mission. It's about what we do. Think about it. Now, you probably don't realize this, but Jonah was the first prophet ever called to go out to another nation. Oh, I know some of the minor prophets that had brief things to say, and they'd said things to the Gentile nation, but nobody had ever went out. And Jonah is called to go to Syria, to Nineveh, the capital of Syria. And it's no wonder in the second verse it says, and God called him to do that, and he turned and went the other way. I can tell you why. Jonah was highly nationalistic. He was very much involved. He wanted a bigger political power. He wanted military power. He was for military policy. He loved his country and his countrymen. And Syria had been threatening the northern kingdom for his whole entire life. And these people were vicious. They were cruel. You could honestly call Syria a terrorist state. I mean, that's why the story is so interesting. All these challenges that are going on. You know, you think about, well, why didn't Jonah just go do this? And I can tell you why. You know, he's this highly nationalistic, patriotic guy concerned about his military strength of his country and his countrymen. And then God decides to send him to Nineveh, the capital of Syria. And you know, one of their emperors, I forget the guy's name right now, but one of their emperors was known for putting on this great show. After all these battles, he would have the cities burned and the corpses would just be laying everywhere. And he would walk around gloating so people could see him gloating. Oh, he did all kinds of things. He burned children and teenagers alive. He used to take his prisoners and he'd rip out their tongue, and then he'd put them on this big stone tablet and he'd stretch them with ropes so he could flay them out. And then after they died, he would skin them and hang their skins on the walls of his city. You couldn't get anybody more of a terrorist than the nation of Syria. And Jonah can't understand it. They're against God's people. What in the world is God thinking sending him to Nineveh? Why should God, the enemy of his people, why should God give them even the slightest chance at mercy? You know, we'll be talking about that. And by the way, Jonah's going to end in a cliffhanger. We're never going to get the answer to that question, but we can make some pretty good assumptions based on what we see. We're going to talk about all that this week. We won't get through it all, but we'll get started. We'll do an introduction and then start on the first chapter. And you'll see just how great a story this is. If the Word of God, if God can change Jonah, He can change anybody. He can even change you and me. So this week, we're going to start talking about Jonah. So I hope you'll be here with us. I hope to see you on Sunday, either online or in the service. And don't forget, if you're online, please send those prayer requests in on Facebook comment section. God bless you and have a great weekend.